Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and so we have the question being asked, why incline curls? Why are incline curls the primary bicep movement that I'm doing? Why have many of the greats from the 50s and 60s, like Steve Reeves, Bill Pearl, guys like that, preferred the incline curl? Number one, the first thing that comes to mind obviously is that it's a single joint movement with a dumbbell. And that gives you a few different benefits. Like for me, for example, I've previously torn my left bicep completely off the bone. It's retracted, had to be repaired. For me, keeping my biceps even is going to be a struggle the rest of my life because I also got an infection in there, had to have some tissue removed. So I've got kind of like a chunk of tissue physically removed. The muscle fibers have been cut out by a doctor in my left bicep. And so accordingly for me, that ability to load each side evenly and make each side do an even amount of work is useful for trying to keep things even for someone like me. That isn't always true on big compound movements like chest presses, but on isolation movements, it's very true with dumbbells. It allows you to get even development. However, the big thing that it does is that the incline curl activates a stretch reflex or a myotatic reflex, because normally when you're curling and you're like this, there's not necessarily a stretch reflex at the bottom. When you're at the bottom of the movement, there's no real stretch put on the bicep beyond the normal range of motion. However, when the arms are back here, it puts a deeper stretch on the muscle itself. And what that does is that when you're coming down and it's back here, and the weight's at the very bottom, it stretches the muscle. And when you stretch the muscle under a load, we found in studies, it's not even always about just how much weight you use, but the fact that you stretch the muscle with a weight, when you go to contract again immediately, as long as you contract within 1 second of the actual stretch, your nervous system will overreact. Your peripheral nervous system will contract the muscle harder, meaning it will activate more muscle fibers than it generally needs to move the weight in an attempt to get rid of the stretch and get out of the stretch faster so that it doesn't injure itself, because it perceives the weighted stretch as a potential injury. And it is a potential injury, just not necessarily with the amount you're doing. And of course, more muscle fiber recruitment means more development. And the other reason that I pick it personally is because I do other movements that affect my biceps, things like rows, lat pull downs, chin ups. There's things like that I do historically that do not have like a stretch reflex. They don't put the bicep into that position. And I am generally of the opinion, unless you are doing an isolation movement to strengthen a weak point in a compound for powerlifting or something, if you're trying to actually develop a muscle the best that you can, you don't want to perform the exact same function in the muscle with your isolation movements that you do in your compounds. Otherwise, you could just do more compound movements and get more overall development. The purpose of an isolation movement is to bring up a weak point. And if you're getting a different position and joint angle specificity with a compound movement, you should probably pick an isolation movement that is going to give you a different joint angle specificity. And in this case, most of the tension is being placed at the stretch position on the incline curl when you're back here. And when you're doing, say, a row, it's not so much. It's more of when you're up here at the top, and it's more of a contracted position. The same with a chin up or a lat pull down. You're putting a lot more tension in the contracted position on those exercises with those big compounds, and not so much in that stretch position on the other end. And the incline curl is adding a new dynamic, a different performance element, which may in many cases help bring up a lagging body part more so, because you're working it through a different angle and function than it's getting on your other big compounds. So that's the idea behind it. It's not guaranteed that that's going to work, but it gives you a better chance of it happening. And the last reason on the incline curl, because I like to deadlift. I like to deadlift heavy. I have previously torn a bicep. Again, going back to joint angle specificity, the strength that you gain from a muscle of moving a certain weight or doing a function only carries over about 15 degrees through the actual joint angles that you train it through. So if you're doing a partial, for example, and you only do half reps, anything beyond 15 degrees from the half rep, you're going to see very, very little strength carryover from the partial to your full range of motion strength. Now, by training that stretch position at the very bottom and putting a heavy focus on that with the dumbbell work, you are strengthening the muscle in that stretch position, which, again, hypothetically, in some cases, is going to make the biceps stronger and more resilient when put into the stretch position, which is where you're most likely to tear a bicep when you're doing a deadlift. So in theory, the incline curl might give you just a little bit of insurance to help prevent bicep tears on the deadlift. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Oh, Mount Bicepius.